Good morning, John. A few weeks ago, you and I sat down to record the very first episode of my new podcast, Humans, which you started out like this.
Well, first off, you don't have my blessing to start this podcast. So I want to be clear about that.
And I appreciate that. I do need to be reined in as much as possible, but I feel very strongly compelled to make this podcast. I'm not entirely sure why, but I've been thinking about it a lot. And here's something I've come up with. I feel a little bit like made out of the internet. And look, I'm aware that starting a podcast is not necessarily a way to be less made out of the internet, but I'm going to make the case. But first I want to say that I like being kind of made out of the internet. It's fun and it's interesting and it brings advantages, but also I need to explain to you what I mean with just YouTube as an example. So YouTube broadly wants me and other people to spend time watching YouTube, and I broadly want people to spend time watching my YouTube videos. Now these are not exactly the same goal, but if you take all the YouTubers together and consider them to be like one mass of content creators, then that mass of content creators overall wants the same thing as YouTube, which is for more people to be watching more YouTube videos. Now, any individual creator might have more complex goals than that, and we do, and certainly one creator might not want you to watch content from other creators. I would love to tell you like a list of people you really shouldn't watch, but the people who are watching those people would get alienated by it. They'd be like, what do you mean? And I'd be like, that person is a liar. And you'd be like, prove it. And I'd be in a fight. And I don't want to be in a fight. That's not the point of the video. The point is, as a collective, the actions creators take to get more views also fulfill YouTube's goal of getting people to spend more time on YouTube. We're in a collaboration together. And part of that is imagining all of these things as views. And if views isn't the right metric, then watch time hours is, if you'd like to further dehumanize it. But views, trust me, is dehumanized enough. Like the view here, of course, is a human being viewing a thing, with the exception, of course, that bots also watch YouTube videos for various nefarious reasons. But I can say with confidence, it is very easy for a YouTuber to lose connection with the reality that views are people. Like standing on a stage in front of 1,000 people feels very different from getting 1,000 views on YouTube. And because it is all or mostly numbers, it's very easy to just imagine it as a number and to just want the number to go up, especially when the dollar number goes up along with that number. As an example of how this is more of a metric than a representation of like a human reality, other platforms have over the years in part succeeded by giving creators more views even though they're not getting as many views. Like a view on TikTok is very different from a view on YouTube, and that's for more than one reason. If you divide the number of like hours humans spent on TikTok yesterday and the number of hours spent on YouTube yesterday, obviously the number of views per hour spent on TikTok is going to be higher. First, just because the videos are short. 1 minute TikTok watched all the way through is one view. A 10-minute YouTube video watched all the way through is one view. So that's already to start, not like a one-to-one comparison thing. More important than that, TikTok counts it as a view earlier than YouTube does. So if you're just swiping on a vertical video platform and you watch for like 2 or 3 seconds, they might count that as a view. Whereas on YouTube, you have to like click, unless it's shorts, you have to click and actually watch a thing. And that's probably going to be more than 3 seconds. So YouTube counts the view later in that process. And I know that this is a difference because there's actually a separate metric for how TikTok counts when they're talking about when a creator might get that view monetized. That metric is called qualified views, and that hovers anywhere between 20 and 50% of the reported view number. And that raises a question in your mind. Why does TikTok report a much higher number of views than like the actual number of views? And the only reason for this is so that it looks more impressive to the people watching, but also to the people creating, where you're like, look at all the views I'm getting on TikTok. They report a higher number of views in part to manipulate creators into feeling like they are more successful. That's true. Like, that's a true thing that happened. Facebook started doing this all the way back in like 2014. It was a kind of a scandal then, but now everybody's just like, I guess that's how the world works. Regardless, the metric becomes the thing, and thus can be used to manipulate people because we forget the thing about how views are people. And one of the things about being made of internet is that the internet begs that of you. It wants you to think of the view as a metric, not as if it is a person. But views are people, creators are people. This is all just people interacting, but it does not feel very people-y. It feels like technology, system-y, which is why I, to this day, spend a lot of time in comments. Every time I upload a Vlogbrothers video, I'm going to be down there in comments over the course of that day for like at least an hour to sort of see the people-y parts. Comments actually feel like people, and also, John, you feel like people. Ultimately, Vlogbrothers remains among the most people-y things I have ever done on the internet, and I like that about it. A lot of systems would like us to imagine away the people parts of the system, but they are like the whole thing. They're the reason anybody's doing anything. They are the source of the value. And so I felt really strongly drawn toward making humans, which I've been working on for like over a year now. Both because I have stuff I really want to talk to people about, and because they're individual people who I really want to talk with about stuff. Also because I just feel like we are getting a little lost with regards to the tech. Like, we have to understand what the source of the value is. Another thing is, and I can feel the excitement as I say it, like, I just don't think that people understand how cool they are. I just want to get into it. We're so weird. I think that that is like a true thing that is easy to misplace. The first episode, John, is with you. It is out now. I found it oddly fascinating. I would have thought that over these years there wouldn't be much new ground for us to cover. It turns out the episode is pretty much entirely new ground. Like, the part of the conversation I'm going to put at the end of this video about Mark Twain, I was like, why haven't we ever talked about this before? And I'm excited to share that, but if you want to watch the whole episode, you can find it wherever you get podcasts. So thank you to all the people who are watching this. We really are doing a very weird thing together. And John, thank you for coming on my podcast and getting into it with me. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Do you think that Mark Twain may have had something to do with our success? Like, you understanding his life?
I'm already uncomfortable with the extent to which I've compared myself to America's greatest writer.
I'm not asking for comparison. I'm asking, you understood this guy's life better than 99.999% of Americans. He was a public intellectual. He was a humorist. He was a writer. You can definitely be a shadow of Mark Twain, but is part of the reason I have such a cool life that you studied Mark Twain in college?
Probably, yeah. I think more about Mark Twain in the context of making stuff online and being a sort of public figure as well as a writer than I do about anybody else, for sure.
You gotta make more Mark Twain content, John.
No, I don't. That's fine. Hank, this is going to sound radical to you, but there are actually things that you can think and not share.
Jerk.
It's true, man. You should try it sometime. It's quite rewarding, actually.
You know, you're a great storyteller. I remember, like, you coming back from school. For those who don't know, John went off to boarding school when you were 14.
Yeah.
And you like come back from school and you'd have these stories that would be story shaped, and they'd be long and they'd have parts, and you could just sort of like sit down and like looking back on it. Of course, I'm like, wow, what a pretentious little dweeb.
Oh, I'm sure those stories were unbearable.
But I was rapt, sitting on the ottoman with my chin in my hands. But you love telling a story. Are there moments where you're like, God, this would be a great story, but I just I don't like the lesson, and I don't like the size and shape of my wound here?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, there's a few things that I just don't talk about, even though they're good stories or they'd be helpful or whatever, just because I don't want to. And the cost is quite high. Something we don't talk about much, but because, now we trade so openly in our traumas and our experiences, we trade them for attention online. And I've done that too. And that can be really helpful to people, right? Like, me talking about having OCD has been really helpful to a lot of people. And it's, I think, for, some people, help them feel more comfortable being themselves, help them feel like there is, that you can live a rich life and also have a serious mental illness, all that stuff. I don't want to sound like, oh, this is merely a terrible thing that we do. I think it's a really complex thing that we do. But the incentives online are always to share the terrible things that are happening to you because they get a lot of attention. I don't want to do that a lot of times because I've seen the cost of it being that once you share something, it isn't yours anymore. And that can be really good. That can be really liberating. That can be really freeing. But also you lose control over that story. You lose the ability to decide when you tell it. One thing I've noticed, and I write about this in my new book that's coming out this fall, but like one thing I've noticed is that interviewers, when they bring up something that they know you don't want to talk about, or they know is kind of inappropriate to ask about, they say, you've been very public about the fact that you have OCD, or you've been very public about this, or you've been very public about that. That's their way of saying, like, I don't have to apologize for asking this inappropriate question that's deeply personal to you because you've been very public about it. But with OCD, like, I've only been very public about it in ways that I've only chosen to be public about it in ways that I have total control over, like making a Vlogbrothers video.
Right.
And then I lose complete control because, quote unquote, I've been very public about it.
Wow. I will never be able to not hear that because I hear it all the time.
People use it all the time. I should say the name of my book. It's called Hollywood Ending. It comes out September 22nd.
I think entitling this podcast Humans, I'm a little bit saying that this is a conversation that is going to be about us no longer being the only thinking entity on the planet. And people will come at me for that phrasing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to come at you for it, actually. But eventually we might not be the only thinking entity on the planet.
We may not be the only source of strength, and we may not be the only source of intelligence in the long run, but like maybe we're the ones who do define what matters and what problems matter and what problems get solved, because we're the ones who are like actually the source of the universe having meaning.
I like the idea that we're the source of the universe having meaning. I mean, whether you construct it as you do, like you believe in constructed meaning and I believe in derived meaning.
Sorry for the tease, everybody, but that's all you get here. If you would like the whole podcast, it is available. You just search for Humans wherever you get podcasts, and it'll pop right up. It might even be on a trending list if we do this well enough. So thank you to everybody who does it, because that will make it easier for other people to find it. John and I had a great chat. I hope you enjoy it.